Hey everyone, this is Taylor from thetradinganalyst.com, and I'm going to be going over a bunch of charts here. Thank you for all the requests. I love to talk shop and hopefully help some of you guys with some of your positions and just a general educational look at some of these charts. So we're going to start off here with MU. Got a lot of requests here. This obviously got upvoted quite a bit. So to answer your question, will it continue to drop after this earnings report, or should we be expecting a rebound now? Well, let's look at when the earnings report is here, and I use earningswhisper.com, and that's in September. So I'm assuming they probably just had an earnings report right now. So on the chart, I don't really factor in earnings. I don't hold through earnings personally, and that's because I'm a shorter term trader, and those swings that you get on earnings can be pretty volatile. So I personally don't hold through earnings, so I can't really answer you there. But what I can say is that we've got some nice support right here at about $29. You can see clearly it was previous resistance right there, and it broke over that resistance. And this is really simple stuff. We got a bounce right here off of that level. This is a simple case of resistance, former resistance, now turning into support. See how we came down, tested that, and this is a really nice bounce here. You know, that was a 10% move off of that support. So you can play those levels here. And here we are again with this washout candle here on Monday. This is the last trading day before today. On Monday, see that little buying wick right there? And then followed by pretty decent volume right there. And we gapped up and closed over the previous day's high. So as you can see, last time that happened, so here's that red candle closing below the previous day's low, and then right here we gapped up on this day. See how there's that gap right there? Here was the open of this day, here's the close of the previous day, so there's that gap there, and then we closed over the previous day's high right there. You can see we got a nice move up right there. So we retrace back down to about $30.90, and then move it up to about $33. I mean, that's about an 8% move in just a few short days. So unless there's an earnings report today or tomorrow, then I would expect the same here on Micron Technology. Overall, just looking at this chart, this is a very bullish chart here, so just keep that in mind. Haven't really gotten any real breakdown yet on MU. I'm not saying it's going to happen. In fact, I would be saying the opposite. It's just a very, very bullish chart. Trends are more likely to continue than to break. So definitely not looking to short this stock. If we do break below this $29 level, we've got a lot of support down here at about $27, $26. See, we bounced from here several times. There's previous resistance right there. All right, so I'm going to touch on the next chart here. Alibaba got several points voted up, so I'm going to cover that one. And this is a very bullish chart here overall. This is a gap up, big gap up to new all-time highs right here off of an earnings report. All right, so that's very, very positive. And then right here, we've got just some sideways trading right here, just digesting these big gains right here. To me, this chart looks like it can definitely continue right here. We've got a little break over this trend line right here, and then we've got this little resistance right here that we haven't quite broken over yet. So if we break over about 145, then we can see a nice continuation of this stock. Very nice action. You can see we had this gap up but we didn't really retrace that much. So very strong bounce right there, and just an overall very bullish chart. I'll look at the weekly chart really quick. You know, obviously very bullish here. Another thing I know there's a lot of lines here, but just focus on up here. So these were the previous all-time highs back here in 2014, and we pretty much just recently broke over that just a few months ago, or actually a couple months ago. We broke over those all-time highs. So that was a big break for this stock. So definitely think that we've got some juice left in this stock. Positive earnings, positive news, positive chart. Don't really have much standing in the way for Alibaba. Let's see, ATVI. This one got upvoted quite a bit, and it was also seconded, thirded, and fourthed. And ATVI. So ATVI, and the cool thing here is I'm not preparing these charts ahead of time. So obviously a lot of these charts I look at all the time regardless, so I have some notations on them, but it's good for you to kind of hear my thought process when I'm not reading off of notes or anything like that. I'm just going over it for the first time in front of you. So we've got some resistance here at about 61.50 approximately, 61.30. There's that resistance. You can clearly see it. And then here in the short term, right here, right about 56.25, we've got that support. And this really looks very similar to most tech stocks. If I look at the NASDAQ here, you can see that that looks very, very similar, okay? So this is the NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ, and then we're going to go back to ATVI. Look at that. Very, very similar. So the reason I bring that up is because when you're trading these individual stocks, you know, it's best to be aware of how they're trading and how correlated they are to the individual indexes that they're in, and you don't want to be trading a lot of the same stocks that are very correlated, because you're raising your risk by doing that. So if they all, you know, go down, you're going to lose a lot more than you should have. So ATVI support at 56.20, resistance 61.25. Looks like we're holding it okay. RSI is holding under that 50 level, not great, but still support here, and still a very bullish chart. Still a very bullish chart overall. So you got to assume, you know, it's not good to assume that it's going to be coming down from here. So you got to wait for those breaks. So I personally be waiting for a break of this support. By break, I mean a close. So close below about $56, and we can expect some lower prices. But just keep in mind, we've got some pretty nice support right around $50, $49 to $50, and that's based off of, like we talked about before, this sideways trading right here. This sideways trading for about a month and a half. You know, we didn't go more than $1. We just traded sideways within this dollar for about a month and a half. So you better believe that there's going to be a lot of buyers waiting in that level. It's around $49. So if we dip below there, that's going to be a buying opportunity around $49 to $50 on ATVI. Next, we're going to be covering Tesla. I know a lot of people like Tesla. And Tesla, right here, this is huge volume on this stock. And we're coming right into this level of support. So around 325, 326 is that level of support. It's previous resistance right there, coming into support, and this is another very bullish chart. I know I have a lot of lines on this chart, but just keep in mind, or just pay attention to this price. Price, going up, up, up. Very simple. You know, when we're talking about trends, you don't want to fight them. So right now, more than likely, dips are going to get bought on this stock. So we've got support right here at about 325, 326, like we mentioned. And then we've got support down here at about 295, 294. So previous support right there. You can see how many times it got to bounce off those levels. So we'll see what happens, but we've got a lot of support nearby. And when you look at this chart here, it's very bullish overall. It's been going up with limited dips here for quite some time. So every time it goes down, the shorts rejoice, and then boom, it just heads up. So a lot of people talk about the fundamentals on this stock. Meanwhile, they're getting ran over because they're trying to short it just based off of fundamentals. So maybe they can hold forever, but eventually maybe it'll go to zero for them. Probably not. But you really want to be trading with the trend. And right here we've got support 295, 325. Those are the main levels. And then we've got resistance above here at about 385. That's that resistance that you want to look for. If we do get a bounce here, likely to fail on that first retest. So just be aware of that. Now the next one we're going to take a look at is SHOP. Got 10 points upvoted, so we're going to take a look at that. Alright, so SHOP. This is not one that I follow regularly. As you can see, I don't have any annotations on it, but obviously it's a huge bullish stock. And again, this is in the technology sector, so all these charts are going to be looking quite similar. Alright, so I'm going to draw a trend line here, which I think will work. Yeah, so that's a nice trend line. Right here, you can see it's really respecting that angle. Started back here in early 2016. Got a bounce right here in that summer. And then we saw a nice bounce here on in December of 2016. So big time trend line there. And here's the biggest support I'm seeing, right around $45. So you better believe, I know this is 50% away, but stocks don't go straight up. So if we do see a retrace for whatever reason, doesn't matter what, but if it comes into that $45 range, this is a huge buying opportunity. Huge buying opportunity against $45. Definitely will be watching that level personally, as this is a huge support. So that's a long ways away, but looking at the closer levels right here, right around $82, $83, you can see his previous resistance there, turns into support there, here, there, and right there. So that's that near-term support that you want to be looking for. If it breaks that support, more than likely it's going to head lower. And just keep in mind, we don't have a lot of big support, just because between 45 and where we're at right now, because we didn't really trade sideways. It just went straight up. Didn't even break the 20-period simple moving average the entire time. So when that happens, it just creates, or I'm sorry, rather it doesn't create any levels of big support, because we didn't have a lot of sideways trading on the way up. So just keep that level in mind, $82, $83. You want to see that level hold for SHOP if you're bullish on this stock. The next one we'll take a look at is Amazon. Got voted up 11 times. And Amazon right here, we've got resistance up here. I'm just deleting these lines because I day trade with this chart here, but I'm going to make it easier on your eyes. So we've got clear resistance up here at about $1,012, $1,013, and we have also got support right here where we've gotten many bounces from around 951. You can see we got bounces here, there, as well as right here. So right here is that near-term support that you want to see hold. If we break that support, more than likely we're going to head lower down to that 908, 909 level. And that is a level of support, pretty decent. You can see a lot of resistance right there, broke over it, headed higher. So now that resistance is going to turn into support. And the bigger level of support is even lower than that, right around 857 to about 835. So right here, this is a very, very viable level below, let's just call it 860 to about 830. 860 to 830, big time support from this sideways trading. We traded sideways for about a month and a half, and that's going to create support. All right, very simple stuff. Next one we saw in there was Google. And Google, this is one that I personally traded profitably today for a bounce, and I might as well just cover that since we're on here. And this is a nice gap up right here. Traded down, filled that gap, and made a low here, lower than the previous candle's low here. And then right here we made a higher low and closed over the high of that previous candle. So that was a long signal. That's where we got long right there. And we sold half right here at this, pretty much near the high of the day. We sold half there, and then we sold the other half right here. And we traded some weekly options, and that was almost a double. So 100% gain on those calls. But getting back to the daily chart here, is we've got this support that didn't hold for Google. So the support didn't hold for Google around 940, 941. You can see it got a bounce here, there, right here, and then we closed below it right here, a clear close below it. So now this level is a level of resistance right there. But we also have this support from this gap low right there. So definitely can see this getting a bounce here. If we close below this support, we're going to head lower. All right, we're going to head lower. But just keep in mind we've got huge support down here around 852, 851. You can see all this sideways trading right there. Almost ran into it right there. And if you look at this weekly chart, this is just a beauty right here. People say trend lines don't work. Well, I'll show them this chart and prove them wrong. So this trend line, this is the weekly chart going back to just before the 2009, that bear market ended right there. Here's that touch. Oops. Yep, okay. And right here we've got a touch against that trend line, 2011, 2012. Right here, 2015, again in 2015, got a bounce off of it. Right here, 2016, almost hit it right here again in 2016. And that level matches up perfectly. See that trend line? We'll go back to the daily time frame. Here's that trend line right there, and it matches perfectly with all this sideways trading. So very viable level. This is a very bullish chart overall. All right. Obviously have some iffiness, for lack of a better word, right here in the short term. But if we head lower, very viable level. Most likely gets a bounce from that level. So keep an eye on that level down here, right around 850. The next one we're going to take a look at is IBM. And IBM is right here near a support. You can see his previous resistance right there, right here. And then we came back down and bounced right around that same level again. And here we are once again right here at that support. So it looks like to me this move is a little bit overdone. We got this gap here, gap down. Definitely think that it can get a bounce here. but if I can just scroll in here, really want to see about 153 hold. All right, we closed below the 20-period simple moving average, but again, we held the previous lows right there. So it's kind of at that make or break level for me personally. I just like to keep my stops really tight. That's the way to make more profitable trades. You can always get back in, but right here, we broke below, we closed below the 20-period simple moving average, which is that blue line, the lower line right there. But again, we held these lows. So if we do close below these lows, if we break 153, then to me that would signal some weakness here that you don't really want to participate in until we get a better opportunity, until it firms up again. So those are my thoughts here on the short term. Another thing here is this resistance right here. You can clearly see it started with the high there, got rejected here, 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 almost every day tested that resistance. So you better believe if we close over about 156 over that resistance, then we can see a nice breakout. But again, we want to see it hold this level here. Definitely needs to hold that level. Next, we're going to be covering AAOI. This is one that I know is quite popular, but I personally haven't traded it or really charted it. So here is a trend line that I think I'll be able to draw. So not bad as far as that trend line is concerned. We'll extend it, but I don't want to put too much weight on it. It only has 2 touches so far, but definitely a valid angle to be kind of paying attention to. And then as far as these short-term levels that you want to be paying attention to, right around $57, $58, just below where we're at, is that support level that you want to be looking for. This previous highs here, resistance here, broke over it, turned into support here, right there, right here. So this is that near-term support that you want to see hold. But just keep in mind, you know, we do have support below, and we have this trend line there as well. Here's some support from this gap up, bounce from it again here, bounce from it again here. So around $42 is that level of support. So between $57 and $42 is that level of support. Remember, this is a very bullish chart overall, and more than likely this trend is going to continue. That's just how trends work. They're more than likely to continue. So don't be trying to be a hero in fighting this trend. Definitely wouldn't recommend it. Next one we're going to be covering is, the last one is Johnson & Johnson. And Johnson & Johnson, overall, a pretty bullish chart here. We've got support right around the nearest best support is right around 128, 129. You can see it was previous resistance here, 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 and here, and we haven't yet come down to test it yet. So if we do head down, back down to about 128, 129, even down to 125, to me that's going to be a short-term buying opportunity. Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let me know. If you want to contact me, you can do so through the contact box on my website. That's www.thetradinganalyst.com. See you next time.